I watched a video blog yesterday produced by a guy by the name of Jimmy Dore. His blog was entitled Sarah Sanders Refused Restaurant Service and Conservatives Miss the Irony. Follow this link to see the blog for yourself if you wish. I was intrigued that he opened that blog with a photo and a quote from Winston Churchill. You saw that at the beginning of this post, and you're going to see another Churchill quote at the end. Quoting Churchill was a surprise to me, and I compliment Mr. Dore for actually reading Churchill's words. I found that most leftists consider Churchill to be on a par with Donald Trump on their Adolf Hitler scale. The gist of this blog was the comparison of Sarah Sanders' ejection from a restaurant to a baker who refused to bake a cake for a gay wedding. This blogger is suggesting that conservatives are hypocritical for speaking out over the Sarah Sanders incident, but on the other hand, supporting the baker's right to refuse to bake a wedding cake. You would be hard-pressed to find a better example of the delusional ideas that come out of a leftist mouth. Are you kidding me, buddy? It's conservatives who are missing the irony? Is it conservatives that are demanding that this restaurant go out of business? Are conservatives taking this restaurant to court? Are conservatives getting the Department of Justice involved? Let me get this straight. You demand that a bakery must do anything that a customer asks regardless. Yet you think it's understandable and justifiable that a restaurant can simply refuse service because they don't like a person's politics. Let me point out some inconvenient truths for you. First of all, Sarah Sanders simply got up and left that restaurant. Didn't have to like it, and she was probably upset and embarrassed. But compare that to the gay couple who demanded that they be granted their wish regardless. They took this to court and they sued the baker. And to expand on that, let's talk about that gay couple. They were regular customers at that bakery. Prior to asking for that wedding cake, they had been served time after time with courtesy and dignity. It was only the wedding cake and participating in that wedding that was offensive to the baker's religious beliefs that they were refused. I don't believe Sarah Sanders was in there looking for political support. I don't think she was talking to the patrons. I don't think she was asking the staff or the owner to support her. She was just in there eating with a friend, and she was refused service, period. That was it. Here's another inconvenient truth. That bakery was driven out of business by legal expenses and government interference. Spoiled brat lefties got the government to do their dirty work for them and destroy that baker and his business. I don't think you're going to see that here with the restaurant. Now, what you might see is market reaction. I know if I lived in that area, I would never, ever patronize that restaurant again. And I'm sure there are those living in that area who feel the same way. But on the other hand, there are others in that area who may never have heard of that restaurant who might now go there to eat because they like the idea of throwing out a Trump supporter. See, what we're talking about here is freedom, free enterprise. If that restaurant thrives in the future, I guarantee you're going to hear that on the evening news. Now, if they go belly up, I don't think you're going to hear about that. The Ministry of Truth doesn't like that, unless they maybe spin this into the restaurant being a victim. But the most likely scenario here is that all of this is going to pass by like a storm, and things are going to return to normal for that restaurant. People that eat there will eat there, continue to eat there as long as they're served good meals at a fair price. It would be interesting to see if that baker would still be in business today. But we're never going to know that, are we? No. Free enterprise, freedom, that's what the left wants to suppress. They wanted to drive that baker out of business, and they did. They don't like free market because it doesn't always support their collective views. No, Mr. Dore, it is you who miss the irony. The irony is that you lefties like You support this restaurant in their decision to sauce out Miss Sanders. Well, me and people like me don't like the idea. We simply drive by that establishment and we don't patronize it. No, Mr. Dorr, it is you who feels good about running that bakery out of business because you don't hold their values. While me and people like me are disgusted with your lynch mob mentality. Later on in your blog, your female sidekick celebrates the heroes that harassed Kristen Nielsen in a Mexican restaurant. Oh, how ironic that is. Did anyone in that bakery shout out, "Shame, shame, shame," to the gay couple? No. Our different point of view here leads us to what may indeed be yet another inconvenient truth. You seem to have trouble with your thinking. You don't think logically. Is it possible that you, along with others on the left, are suffering from a deficiency of the left hemisphere? You see, the left side of your brain deals with reality. It does analysis. It reasons. It solves problems, and it's good with math and logic. It seems that your right hemisphere has become dominant. You're filled with feelings and emotions. You cry out for diversity, but you simply vilify those who hold opposing political views and alternative solutions. There's no diversity there. You decry how unjust America is, yet you accept the fact that there are thousands upon thousands who are coming into America. What kind of logic is that? You have destroyed the unity of America. What used to be called the United States of America is now divided, perhaps beyond reconciliation. The real irony is that those of us on the right are still willing to sit down with you to negotiate, but you won't have it. It's your way or the highway. Those of you on the left preach tolerance, but yet you reek of intolerance. You simply refer to us as Nazis, and then you close your mind. Here's something you lefties will maybe like to hear. This isn't all your fault. You've been misled by those who would deceive you in order to cement their dominance. The elites in the Ministry of Truth Media, the angry sociology professors who have achieved nothing outside of the world of academia, those ego-driven Hollywood people who are oh so good at making make-believe that crank out those magnificent pieces of propaganda. And then there's leftist politicians who buy your votes with impossible promises so that they may be king. You're sheltered in the most prosperous and free nation in recorded history, yet you seem to be bitterly unhappy. Yes, there's irony here. The most bitter irony of all is your inability to learn from history. In ancient Rome, a debauched citizenry and a corrupt political system could not perceive that Rome could ever fall. The most unpleasant irony of all is that you and your comrades on the left have brought us to that same place, and you're oblivious. Hope to see you again soon. Goodbye now.